Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swami Ne Tapaharine Hari Om. Dear devotees, we have been seeing the life of Swami Vivekananda. We saw that after giving his Bharat Parikrama tour lectures from Colombo to Almora, then he went on pilgrimage, spent a lot of time with his devotees, with his disciples, and ensuring that all the work from Belur Math was happening fine. So basically, he has kept the wheel of Belur Math, the Ramakrishna mission, moving, and then he went to pilgrimage to Amarnath and Kshir Bhavani, and there he had high spiritual experiences, and the spiritual ecstasy that he went through in Amarnath permanently damaged his body. His body could not take it. We saw that he had the blood vessels in his left eye broke, and he had a clot in his eye, and his heart expanded, and he fell unconscious. He fainted, and he was brought down. And after that, he again did severe austerities towards Kali. He had a vision of Kali. In Amarnath, he had the vision of Shiva. Then he had the vision of Kali. Then after that, he took a week-long austerities in the temple of Kshir Bhavani, where he had the vision of the Divine Mother there. And all these spiritual austerities, tapasya, and everything could not be taken by his body, and he became very sick, and severe asthma, diabetes, all these things started, and he returned back to Belur Math, and he was completely changed and very weak. Health was completely broken. And then he spent some time in Belur Math training the disciples and all that. And he wanted to ensure the American and England work were going fine. And also his American disciples invited him to US, to America, to regain his health. So he started off on his second voyage to the West. So on June 20, 1899, he boarded a steamer from Calcutta named Golconda, and it set off to the west. At that time, there was plague in Calcutta. So when the steamer touched Madras, his disciples in Madras were eagerly waiting for him to meet him, but then the passengers were not allowed to land. So they could only see him from the shore on the ship. Now, this picture at the top, this was taken on 19th June 1899 in Belur Math. This was a send-off for Swamiji during his second visit, when he went left to the west for the second time. And then the ship arrived at Colombo, and there the passengers were allowed to get down, and he was given a great ovation, and he visited a Buddhist girls' school and also a convent. And then the ship went through the Suez Canal and finally arrived at London. But then it was off season in London. So it arrived at London on June 31st, and he met his disciples there. And almost immediately, within 15-16 days, he continued the journey to New York. And so, all through this journey, Swami Turiyanandaji and Sister Nivedita were with Swamiji, and he had lot of conversations with Sister Nivedita, and a lot of classes, training going on. And Sister Nivedita had recorded much of these conversations and impressions during this voyage, and which she later published it as a part of her book, The Master as I Saw Him. And he arrived at New York, and so in New York, he gave a lot of lectures, and numerous lectures, classes on various topics and Vedanta philosophy, Raja Yoga, and also a lot of private conversations and interviews. But there was no J.J. Goodwin, so we have very less of whatever Swamiji spoke during this time. It is only whatever Swamiji talked about, wherever he talked about, is only available from some letters and then some notes taken by some disciples. So not much is available as full lectures. And then, so this picture, which you see here, that was taken in the Ridgely Manor, which is a house near in the slightly away from New York. It belonged to Mrs. Leggett, and you can see Swamiji, and this is Turiyanandaji, and this is Abhedanandji, and then some of his disciples, Alberta, and this is MacLeod, Josephine MacLeod. So, yeah, and then after that, Swamiji was in New York. So at that time, Josephine MacLeod, she got an information that her brother was critically ill and was in his last days. So she wanted to go to, and that was in Los Angeles. So she wanted to go to Los Angeles, and Swamiji said, "Okay, you go. I will come after a few days." And at that time, actually, Swamiji did not have any plan to go to the West Coast, but then that word came out of Swamiji's mouth, and Josephine MacLeod was thinking, like, "What is this Swamiji saying like this? There is no plan anyway." But anyway, she went to Los Angeles, and there she attended to her brother, and her brother passed away. And she was staying in the house of Mrs. S.K. Blodgett, and in her house, MacLeod found a huge picture of Swamiji, and she was really surprised how she knew about Swamiji. And she said that she had attended the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, and she was very much impressed, and she had been following Swamiji's books and reading her books. And actually, Mrs. Blodgett did not know that Miss MacLeod was associated with Swamiji. And when MacLeod told her that Swamiji was in New York and she had been with him and she's coming straight from there, Mrs. Blodgett wanted Swamiji to come to Los Angeles, and they wrote to Swamiji and invited him to Los Angeles. So Swamiji came over by train. On the way, he took small stopover in Chicago, and he arrived at Los Angeles. And at Los Angeles, he gave a lot of public lectures, private conversations, and there was an organization there called the Home of Truth, which organized several lectures by Swamiji, and over 1,000 people attended that series of lectures. And from there, he went to the Northern California. So he went to Oakland, Alameda, Pasadena, San Francisco. So all those places he was giving lectures. And so these pictures, you can see the picture on the top left. and the top right. So those were taken in San Francisco. It's a series of pictures, very beautiful pictures, which are used very often. You can see that. And the bottom picture, bottom left, that is taken in Pasadena. And the bottom right is a retreat which was held on the top of a mountain, and that's also in California. So all these things happened, and the the people there had already read Swamiji's Raja Yoga lectures, and so they wanted more of Raja Yoga. So most of the lectures which Swamiji gave here were on Raja Yoga, and they were very much impressed, and they gifted 160-acre land with full of forests for Swamiji, and today that is called the Shanti Ashrama, slightly away from San Francisco. And Swamiji asked Swami Turiyananda to remain there and teach. So after Swamiji left the West, Turiyananda went and built up the Shanti Ashrama there. And in San Francisco also, like you have in the city, we have the ashram, and also there is a retreat center north of the bay. Like there's a huge forest which was later bought by Swami Ashokanandji. So when Swamiji was there in California, like he went on he had a trip, like they had a lecture, kind of a picnic at which is now a part of the Taylor National Park, and on the fringes of that, Swamiji stayed with his disciples and took classes. And later, Swami Ashokanandji was able to identify the place where Swamiji actually gave those lectures, and then that part was bought, and that is also a part of the Ramakrishna Math now. And then Swamiji came back to New York after from the West Coast back to the East Coast, and he had a lot of discussions with his disciples there in the in the East Coast. And let me see if there is something to read. Yeah, and so during this time in New York, there was one important incident which happened, and so Swamiji was giving a lecture, and after 15 minutes, he suddenly stopped the lecture, and he bowed down, and he went away. And a friend asked, they asked what happened to, why did Swamiji stop the lecture in between? Why was the lecture cut short? And I'll read from the book. So the Swamiji answered that at that meeting, he had felt that he had too much power. He had noticed that the members of the audience were becoming so absorbed in his ideas that they were losing their own individualities. He had felt that they had become like soft clay, and that he could give them any shape he wanted. That, however, was contrary to his philosophy. He wished every man and woman to grow according to his or her own inner law. He did not wish to change or destroy anyone's individuality. That is why he had to stop. So, Swamiji was, uh, his lecture was so powerful that people were almost mesmerized, and they were absorbing everything that he was telling without putting their individuality and without thinking for themselves. And Swamiji did not want to give a lecture in this kind of a state of mesmerism. So he immediately stopped the lecture, and he retired. Like the lecture was stopped in between. And then, so Turiyananda was working in New Jersey at this time, and his paper on Shankaracharya, which he read before the Cambridge conference, was highly praised by the Harvard professors. And then So after that, Swamiji left from here, and there was a Congress of the History of Religions, which was going to happen in Paris. So Swamiji was invited to attend that. So Swamiji left New York for Paris on July 20, 1900. And he arrived in Paris on August 1st, and he stayed first initially with Mr. and Mrs. Francis Leggett, and later he moved into Monsieur Jules Boy, who was a great, very popular French writer, and he stayed there. And in so Swamiji already knew some French. He had learned French when he was in India also, and during this time he improved his French because he had to give lectures in the Parliament, in the on the Congress of History of Religions. He had to give lectures in French, so he improved his French, and during this time he met a lot of popular people, famous people in that area, and a lot of leading Western thinkers, including we all might have learned in maths when the Venn diagrams. Like he was a great French mathematician. Like he met, had a lot of discussions on mathematics with Venn. So like that, a lot of people he met in different domains, like in theater, in music, in math, science. He met a lot of people, and of course, in France. So he should have discussed with almost everyone in French only. So Swamiji picked up enough French to be able to completely speak in French in France. And he spoke at the Congress of the History of Religions, and he this time he gave that this Congress was not as grand as the one as the Parliament of Religions, which happened in Chicago long back. So this was much smaller, and he gave a few talks, and one on the origin of Shivalinga, and on the common basis of Veda as the common basis of Hinduism and Buddhism. And then like they had an opinion that Indian theater and drama music, they were influenced by Greek thought, and Swamiji argued that Indian culture was an independent development, and it was not influenced by Greek thought. And during this time, like he met Dr. J.C. Bose, Jagdish Chandra Bose, who was doing research in Paris at the time. He was living in Paris, and he went to J.C. Bose. He met him. He met here, and Bose took him to his lab. Swamiji saw all the research that Bose was doing, and he was really proud that someone from India and Bengal was doing so much of advanced scientific research in Paris. And a lot of distinguished personalities he met at this time. And so Madam Calvé was one of them. You can see the right top picture. She was already acquainted with Swamiji when Swamiji's first visit in America itself. And here again, so she had she was continuing to be in touch with Swamiji, and she had great respect for Swamiji. And so she again met Swamiji here in Paris. And after this, Swamiji accepted an invitation from Mrs. Olebul to stay in the peninsula. There's a small peninsular part of France, which is very beautiful, very scenic place, and in Brittany. So he spent some time there, and then came back to Paris, and had a lot of meetings with a lot of distinguished people. And all through this time, Sister Nivedita was with him, and Sister Nivedita has recorded everything what has happened, and she kept meticulous diaries, and she had noted down conversations and everything. So we come to know of most of all these things from Sister Nivedita's records. And then Madam Kalve invited Swamiji to have a tour of Vienna. Vienna was a place of music, and Madam Kalve was very popular singer, and she had great respect from the people uh, during that time. And Swamiji was her guest, and he visited a lot of places in Vienna. And then he went to Constantinople in Turkey, where also he was in already he had invitation from there from a lot of scholars and thinkers, and he delivered a lot of private lectures on Vedanta. And from there, he went to with his disciples wanted to visit Cairo, Athens, and Cairo. So he went there. So at Cairo, two things happened, significant things. One was once when Swamiji and his disciples they were walking in Cairo, they lost the way, and they happened to stray into a red light area in Cairo where women, public women, were living, and they didn't know. And before they could realize it, uh, they were there. And looking at them, Swamiji felt first, actually, those women they were making lewd remarks with gestures, and Swamiji understood who they were, and he understood that they were prostitutes, and he felt so much of sympathy and love for them that like the society had pushed them into such condition. And looking at a saint, some of them came and they fell at Swamiji's feet, and as per the Christian custom, they kissed the corner of Swamiji's robe, and they all saw a great saint. And Swamiji was unconscious of the external surroundings, and then he came back to consciousness, and then he blessed them, and then they came back. And then when he was in Cairo, he was thinking about Captain Xavier a lot, and Swamiji had a premonition that something has happened to Captain Xavier. So he wanted to immediately go to India. And so he left his disciples there in Cairo, and he alone traveled to Naples. And from there, on the first available ship, he traveled alone to Bombay. And he traveled incognito. No one recognized him, and he traveled to Bombay, and almost immediately he took a train and went to Calcutta, and he reached Belur Mutt on December 9th, late in the night. And by the time the evening Arati had got over, and the Belur Mutt gate was closed, and there was a watchman who could not recognize him. He thought he was an Englishman, and he went inside to tell that, and then he announced a Shaib has come. And by this time, Swamiji could hear the dinner bell, and he wanted to immediately meet his brother disciples. So he actually scaled the wall of Belur Mutt, climbed up the wall, and jumped inside. And even before the watchman could come back to open the gate, Swamiji was inside, and he met them, and they were really happy to see him again. And moment he was there, he immediately asked them what happened to Captain Xavier, and they told him that Captain Xavier had passed away, and it was exactly the same date when Swamiji had the premonition. And so within a short time, Swamiji wanted to go to Mayavati, and it was winter, pretty cold and high snow, and still he wanted to go and meet Mrs. Xavier and console her. So, and this is the picture you can see on the top. This is Mrs. Xavier, and that is Captain Xavier. And along with the Swami Shivananda and Sadananda and then his disciple Swami Sadananda, he went to Mayavati, and so he started on December 27th, and it was severe winter, heavy snowfall, and all that. So finally, they reached Mayavati on January 3rd, and Swamiji stayed there for 15 days, and mostly he stayed indoors because it was heavy snow was there, and his health also was declining. And so in Mayavati, he was inspiring the brotherhood, the people who are staying there. And he had a lot of conversations, teachings, which he was giving there. And with Swami Swarupananda, he was discussing the work and to be done there. And at this time, Swamiji visited Dharamgad. So Dharamgad is a small hillock near Mayavati Ashram, where you can go up to the top of the mountain and top of that hill. And Swamiji went there. Even today, you can from Mayavati Ashram, you can trek up to Dharamgad, and from there you can see the very beautiful view of the entire place. So Swamiji went there, and another interesting thing happened at this time was Swamiji found that a couple of inmates, they had set up a shrine for Sri Ramakrishna, and so at that time when Swamiji was going rounds, he saw. At that time he did not tell much, but that evening he admonished them, he scolded them, saying that this place is for Advaita sadhana, and here no worship, no worshipping God through any form, not even through Sri Ramakrishna. So they felt bad. Like some of them, they agreed, yes, and then, but one of the inmates, like he was not happy, and he wrote a letter to Holy Mother in Calcutta that Swamiji was like that. Here is an this thing, Advaita Ashrama, like, and here he is not allowed to worship Sri Ram Krishna. What is this? And he wrote to Holy Mother, and Holy Mother immediately replied back. And so I will read from the book. So Holy Mother wrote back, Sri Ramakrishna was all Advaita and preached Advaita. Why should you not follow Advaita? All his disciples are Advaitans. So Holy Mother wrote back a definitive statement supporting the Advaita ashram's absence of even worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. So, so what Swamiji said is that the ultimate goal is Advaita, non-dualism, and all other forms of worship, everything is only a stepping stone towards Advaita. So that was Swamiji's teaching. And so this is Mayavati Ashram, and from here you can see the Nanda Devi peaks from the side of the ashram. Beautiful place. And he returned to Belur Math on January 24, and he spoke very highly of the work happening in Advaita Ashram. And then Swamiji wanted to visit East Bengal. And so there are a few holy places in East Bengal, and Swamiji's old mother had wanted to visit. So she also accompanied the party, and they went to Dhaka, and there Swamiji was very warmly welcomed by the citizens. And then they visited the Langal Band, which is a very holy place in East Bengal, and then they took bath in the Brahmaputra, and he delivered lectures there. And there also in East Bengal, there was Nagamaya Shaya's home. He visited that home and he spoke highly of Nagamaya Shaya to his disciples. And then he went on a pilgrimage to Chandranath, which is another uh, popular pilgrimage place in East Bengal. And then from there, he went to Kamakhya, and he gave a lot of lectures and all these places, and followed a lot of austerities which were common, which were according to the practice of the local place. And then his health was poor. He went to Shillong and stayed there for some time. And Sir Henry Cotton, like he was the chief commissioner there, and he was very much for the India's freedom movement at that time. And so he supported Swamiji and arranged for medical facilities and all that. So these pictures are from Swamiji in Shillong. Uh, so and almost these are the last pictures of Swamiji which are available. Like after this, no, there are no more photos of Swamiji available. And then he returned to Calcutta in May 1901, and then like he talked to the local people in the mutt about his visit and everything. And so now back in Belur Mutt, he was guiding the people there, and training them. And so he was, and during this time, one second, yeah. So he was training them in the Belur Mutt, and he used to stay in the room which is now there as Swami Vivekananda's room, and most of the time he was living there and meditating there, and then coming down, and he set up the timetable for the ashram and the various bells. And it was this time that he also uh, started the practice of everyone waking up at 4 o'clock. There will be, even today in Ramakrishna ashrams, like there will be a person whose hand has a handbell, and he'll be going around all the rooms along the corridor, ringing the bell, handbell, waking people up. And so Swamiji established the practice that 4 o'clock everyone wakes up, and 4:30 they assemble in the shrine, and everyone sits for meditation. And Swamiji used to wake up at 3 o'clock, and he used to be in the shrine at 3:30, and he used to meditate for a long time, and everyone joins him. And the entire atmosphere used to be highly charged, and a lot of his disciples and brother disciples have mentioned that everyone was able to meditate very deeply in Swamiji's presence. And so uh, and at this time, the the local people around Belur Mutt, they had a lot of criticism about Belur Mutt, and they were saying, "What are the sannyasis? They are not following the orthodox customs of Hindu sannyasis." And in those days, the orthodox people don't even mix up with Westerners, and a lot of Westerners are coming and visiting. So there was a lot of criticism, and uh, Swamiji and other monks, they did not give much importance to it. And in October 1901, Durga Puja was celebrated according to the Shastric injunctions, with all the Homa, Puja, mantras, everything. And also following that, Lakshmi Puja was celebrated, and Kali Puja was celebrated with all the Shastric procedures. and even today, all those things are celebrated in all the Ramakrishna mats. And looking at all these things, the Orthodox people of Calcutta regained some faith and some acceptance of Belur Math and the sannyasis uh, as proper Hindus, right? Like they were. There was a lot of criticism before this, and seeing the fervor and the orthodoxy by which the Math was celebrating Durga Puja, Kali Puja, and all these things, they got more acceptance from the local Orthodox Hindu community. And in December 1901, there was the Indian National Congress session was happening in Calcutta, and a lot of freedom fighters and a lot of people in the Indian politics, they came and paid homage to Swami Vivekananda. And already Swami Vivekananda's works, and as we saw, even in 1897, the Lectures from Colombo to Almora was published. And that book was a great inspiration for all the freedom fighters from that time. Like even whether it is Rabindranath Tagore or Jawaharlal Nehru or Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, everyone were highly inspired by the lectures from Colombo to Almora. And Swamiji and Mahatma Gandhi had said that by reading Swamiji, his patriotism multiplied thousandfold. That was a statement made by Mahatma Gandhi. And so Swamiji was was a great inspiration for the freedom fighters and the people in the Congress. So they came, visited him. And also around this time, in late December 1901, so there were two Buddhists from Japan, very dignitaries from Japan. They came and they invited Swamiji for a parliament of religions, which they were arranging in Japan. And due to ill health, Swamiji said he cannot he cannot travel to Japan. And then they wanted Swamiji to accompany them to Bodh Gaya, and Swamiji agreed. And in February 1902, Swamiji visited Bodh Gaya, and after that he visited Varanasi also. And in both the places, in both Bodh Gaya, and of course next to that is Vishnu Gaya, and in Varanasi, all the places Swamiji was given great respect, and the priests of the temple and the Orthodox people in Vishnu Gaya, Bodh Gaya, and Varanasi, they gave a lot of respect to Swamiji. And so Swamiji was very happy and that the Ramakrishna Mission monks were accepted by the Orthodox Hindus of Varanasi and Gaya. And so this was almost his last journey or last travel. And after this, Swamiji did not travel outside Belur Math. So, and there in Varanasi, he got one Maharaja gave a big donation, and that was Swamiji handed over to the youth who were already doing social service in Varanasi, and they were running a home of service for medical treatment, free medical service to the monks and sannyasis and common people there. And so Swamiji appreciated the work they were doing, and also handed over whatever donation was given there to them. And with that, the Sevashrama, which is running in Varanasi now, that took root. And so all those things happened in Varanasi. And after that, Swamiji came back to Belur Math. And so so there were some workers who were working there, and Swamiji, there were some Santal laborers, some tribal people who were immigrants who were there, and Swamiji wanted to give them a bandara, a big feast, and he organized a big feast, and Swamiji was very happy to see them treated well, and he saw and he emphasized that service to the poor and the destitute people is the worship of Lord. So, and in February 1902, the birthday of Sri Ramakrishna was celebrated. More than 30,000 devotees attended the celebration in Belur Math. But Swami Vivekananda was too ill. He didn't participate publicly. But he, of course, took worshipped Sri Ramakrishna, did austerities, and he accepted uh, the salutations from the monks and disciples. But he did not appear in public at that time, and he was suffering from severe diabetes. His legs were swollen, and he was pretty ill at that time. And he was put under the Ayurvedic treatment. And even during this time, even though Swamiji's health was very bad, his intellect was fully active. He was, and that is, there's an illustration so there was one visitor to the ashram, to the mutt, who saw the new volumes of Encyclopedia Britannica. 24 volumes were there, and when looking at them, that the person remarked to Swamiji that so much of knowledge is available, accessible now, and it will take even one lifetime is not enough for anyone to go through this 24 volumes of Encyclopedia Britannica. And Swamiji replied, like, what do you mean? I have completed 10 volumes and now I'm reading the 11th volume. And the visitor could not believe. And Swamiji said, like, you ask any question from the 10 volumes, I can answer. And he picked up randomly several volumes, and he asked several questions to Swamiji from that. And Swamiji could answer everything in the 10 volumes that he had finished reading. And he even quoted verbatim from those 10 volumes. So Swamiji had, his tremendous memory was still fully active, and he was intellectually, he was fully active, even though his body was so weak and his health was so bad. But so his memory and his intellect were fully active. And so at this time, Swamiji had the vision. He always had the vision of starting a mutt for women, which is completely independent of the Belur Mutt. And so he emphasized the need for having a woman's mutt, which was the Sharda Mutt, and under the inspiration of Holy Mother. And in fact, Sharda Mutt is one of the first monastic organization for nuns in the entire world, because the Christian tradition did not have the nuns organization as an independent entity. They were always under the monastic organization run by men. So this Sharada Mutt, started by Swami Vivekananda as an independent organization, was one of the first monastic organizations for women anywhere in the world. And even today, Sharada Mutt runs. So the headquarters is near Dakshineshwar. And so slowly after this, even right after the visit to Varanasi, Swamiji started withdrawing himself from all public work, and he encouraged his brother disciples and his disciples to continue the work to manage everything. So he did not interfere in any of them. He only gave advice only when they came and asked for advice, and he, of course, like guided them on the spiritual lines. He guided them, and he spent a lot of time in deep meditation. And around this time, there is another uh, thing which happened. So he, and as time went, like he was emphasizing more on worship of God uh, as the manifestation, as this world. And so here's I'll read from the book. So he said, after so much tapasya, austerity, I have known that the highest truth is this: the Lord is present in all beings. There, these are all the manifested forms of Him. There is no other God to seek for. He alone is worshipping God who serves all beings. So he who serves the living beings is the person who is really worshipping the Lord. So that was what Swamiji taught. Was in all conversations, like most whichever he had, was the one point which he was emphasizing repeatedly. And I'll read again from the book. One day, seated on a canvas cot under the mango tree in the courtyard of the monastery. So this mango tree is still there. If you go to Belur Math, if you go behind the temple where the old shrine is there, and then you have Swamiji's room, and below Swamiji's room there is this mango tree where this incident happened. So seated on a canvas cot under the mango tree, he was seated, and the sannyasins and brahmacharins were busy doing their daily duties. One of them was sweeping the courtyard. Swami Premananda, after his bath, was climbing the steps to the shrine. And during this time, suddenly Swami Vivekananda's eyes became radiant. Shaking with emotion, he said to a disciple, "Where will you go to seek Brahman? He is immanent in all beings. Here, here is the visible Brahman. Shame on those who, neglecting the visible Brahman, set their minds on other things. Here is the visible Brahman before you, as tangible as a fruit in one's hand. Can't you see? Here, here is Brahman." And these words struck those around him with a kind of electric shock. For a quarter of an hour, they remained glued on the spot as if petrified. The broom in the hands of the sweeper stopped. Premananda fell into a trance. Everyone around experienced an indescribable peace. At last, the Swami said to Premananda, "Now go to worship." So this was almost like the Kalpataru Day incident in Sri Ramakrishna's life, where he blessed everyone around Chaitanya Hog and everyone got into spiritual ecstasy. So an almost similar incident happened under that mango tree behind the Belur Math temple, where Swamiji said, "See, here is Brahman," and everyone around got fell into a trance, and everyone could see Brahman tangibly around. So this was a very interesting incident which happened, and so Swamiji was continuing to guide the mutt, and so Swamiji, as you all know, like July 4th is when he passed away, but he had planned it very meticulously, as we all know. In when he was in Amarnath temple, he had the blessings of Amarnath. Amarnath basically means immortal, god of immortality, right? Like so, he was blessed by Shiva, Amarnath Shiva, that he can drop his body whenever he wanted. And so Swamiji uh, started planning for it, and but others did not realize it. And 1 week before uh, July 4th, 1 week before that, he had asked one of his disciples to bring the calendar, the Bengali almanac, and he was going through that, and he studied carefully, and then he had fixed the date at that time. And around this time, he also his health improved a bit, and uh, he uh, he went for a walk with Swami Brahmanandji, and they could he wanted to go for a walk, and they walked outside the Belur Math campus into the Belur village, and there was one shop which was selling sandalwood uh, sticks and logs of sandalwood. And Swami Vivekananda pointed to Brahmanandaji the sandalwood logs, and then said, remember this shop." He just said, "Remember this shop." Brahmanandaji did not understand why Swamiji was saying this. And then they came back to Belur Math. And 3 days before his passing, Swamiji pointed to a spot where he want under a bale tree, like so, where he said this is the place where his body should be cremated, and so, but then no one really realized that the end would come so near. So, but Swamiji was giving these hints, and he was getting deep into meditation. And Sri Ramakrishna had told earlier that when Swamiji comes to know who he is, he will not stay in this world for long. And so Swamiji was looking at long hours that Swamiji was spending in meditation. One of his disciples asked him, like, "Swamiji, do you really have you understood who you are?" And Swamiji replied, "Yes, now I know who I am." And this came as a shock to others, because everyone uh, expected a negative reply. And but when in a very solemn mood, Swamiji replied, yes, he understands who he is. And the news was passed on to Sharadanandji, Brahmanandji, Premanandji, and all, and everyone became worried. And also, like, Swamiji was, day by day, he was getting deeper, and he was getting into deep meditation. He was spending a lot of time in meditation. And on the last day, he woke up early as usual, and he meditated for 3 hours early in the morning, and then he walked along with the people, and then he gave a 3 hour class to the brahmacharis in the mutt. And so around evening 7 o'clock, he when the evening bell rang in the chapel, in the temple, then he went to his room, and he told the attendant that he wanted to meditate and not to disturb him. And he sat into meditation. So he meditated for more than an hour, and then after that he came out, and then he lied on his bed, and he asked he was sweating, and he asked his attendant to open all the windows, and he lied down, and he started meditating lying down. And around at 9:10, there was a slight movement in his body, and then 2 deep breaths, and breathing stopped, and the attendant immediately called the other senior monks, and they saw blood in his nose and in his eyes, and they immediately called the doctor. The doctor tried to revive him, but then he was declared dead. So Swamiji was fully conscious and spent lot of hours in meditation, and with willfully he left his body, and immediately, like everyone, the morning, everyone was told. In the night only, everyone came. Sister Nivedita came immediately, and all his disciples, everyone came from Calcutta, and so and next day, his body was cremated in the spot. Now there is a temple. You can see the temple on the right side. So the exact spot where Swamiji had told to be cremated. And it was then that Brahmanandji remembered that Swamiji had pointed to a shop which was selling sandalwood logs. And so those they were bought from there and used for the cremation. And and another interesting thing happened, like when Swamiji's body was burning, and Sister Nivedita was sitting besides the fire and crying, and by an unexpected, unnatural gust of wind, carried a small piece of Swamiji's Gerua cloth, the and it put it on in the hands of Sister Nivedita, and the half burnt small piece of Gerua cloth was handed into her hand by the wind, and Sister Nivedita took that as Swamiji's prasada, and that piece is still preserved even today. And Swamiji had told that it may be that, I'm reading from the book, it may be that I shall find it good to get outside my body, to cast it off like a worn out garment, but I shall not cease to work. I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know that it is one with God. And he had also told, may I be born again and again and suffer thousands of miseries, so that I may worship the only God that exists, the only God I believe in, which is the sum total of all souls. So this was Swamiji's message. Throughout his life, his message was serving the living beings is serving God. There is no other higher worship than serving the living beings, and that is the highest. And in fact, Swamiji says that is the only real worship, to serve living beings. So with this, we will stop remembering this series, and let us all pray to Swami Vivekananda that we also realize the Vishwarupa Ishvara. Let us also see the manifestation of God in the world everywhere around us. Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Ram Krishna. Jai Ram Krishna. Jai Ram Krishna.